And welcome back. Pregame.tv, Ken Thomson, Friday night radio partner Chuck Edel. Been doing the SportsX radio show now for 10 years. And, of course, you can hear the cut-up version right there at pregame.com. After the show is archived, Jeff Scott does a great job, takes all the commercials out. So literally in an hour and 20, 25 minutes, you can listen to the whole 2 hours. On Friday nights, Chuck and I break down every single game on the Saturday college hardwood. During football season, we'll do the college football right into the NFL, always giving little tidbits on all the games, get you caught up on injuries, all that good stuff, and against the spread numbers as well, and that's important in this line of business.
Yeah, give you all the lines on the games if there's any key injuries, and we go through them quick, but we give our opinions as well, and it's a good listen.
It is. It's good stuff, no doubt about it, and of course, we are a little biased. All right, Sir Charles, we talked a little bit about Creighton, their game in the Big East against Providence, talked about the first game, which was Pittsburgh-Clemson. We're going back to that conference now, the ACC, for Florida State. Their finale on Sunday at home. It'll be a 2 o'clock start down there in Tallahassee, taking on the Syracuse Orange. And the Orange coming in, dropping 4 of their last 5 games. And, Charles, I came out on the limb here when Marco was doing his video and Syracuse was playing at Duke, coming off the loss against Boston College, and I said I did not have Syracuse in my top 5. I didn't even have them in my top 10 because I thought this was a team that struggles mightily to shoot the basketball. I know Ennis on occasion can knock down the threes, good percentage, but doesn't shoot a lot of them. Cooney's the guy. If you get on Cooney the way teams get on Raggy and try and take him away from Creighton, they struggle, and with Jeremy Grant out of the lineup with the back spasms and back problems, that hurts them big time because they don't get those open looks from the outside that they would if Grant's in the lineup.
Yeah, and he's questionable, and even if he goes, I don't think he'll be healthy. He tried to make a go of it at Virginia. He really played 10 minutes, was not effective at all. It's not only the Syracuse that they've been losing. They lost 4 or 5, but it's the teams that we've seen them lose to. Boston College, a bottom feeder. At home to Georgia Tech, not one of the better teams.
At home to Boston College, and not only was it at home, but they got it into overtime at the end, and then they still couldn't win. I mean, normally the better team, when they push it into overtime, where they're the ones forcing the overtime, they should win in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, they get a second life, and now they kind of get recharge your battery because they were supposed to win that game. They had a close call against NC State. They only beat them by 1. They got lucky to beat Pittsburgh on Ennis's last-second shot. So This is a team. Who's, and I know you have this philosophy like in baseball with teams go on winning streaks, and as soon as they go off that winning streak, you kind of jump against them. But this is a team who was undefeated. As soon as they have lost that first game, they have kind of lost a step or two, and they have really struggled and both facets. And Jeremy Grant's a big injury as well. And
you talked about it, not only the losses, losing 4 out of 5, but the games they've won, they're not winning by more than 1 or 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that. I mean, they played. It's funny because they played Duke. That was probably their best game they played, the revenge spot there for Duke, and they played that game very well. Lost by 6. I think most people probably pushed on that game, maybe if you got a good number 1. But they, like you said, they've been offensively challenged, and that's really hurt them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, again, are we, I shouldn't say we because I've been against them and I've made good money going against Syracuse, but the public, they see Syracuse and they just figure there's no way this, almost like, the 49ers or Seattle, if they ever get like a little mini losing streak in the NFL, there's no way they can lose again. But yet there is. If the chemistry, if things aren't clicking, or if you find something out about a team, maybe you just either stay away until they get back to what you think they're going to be, or you go against them.
Yeah, and I thought the spot after Syracuse lost to Duke, and remember Boeheim went nuts, took the suit off, got kicked out of the game. I thought that next game against Maryland, I thought this would be like a home run spot for Syracuse because here's a Syracuse team, basically their coach just laid it all out. They really barely hung on. They beat Maryland by 2 points. That was their one win they had. Jeremy Grant did get hurt in that game, but they barely beat Maryland in that game, hung on for, I think it was 59-57. And that was a spot I thought if you were going to see Syracuse shine, that would have been a spot. So they're really struggling right now.
All right, so this is my play for Sunday afternoon. It is Florida State and Syracuse, and let's make it official. And there it is. Chuck's talking about a good spot against Maryland. If Syracuse was going to get out of the funk, they would have pounded Maryland. Same thing with Georgia Tech at home. You come off getting lambasted by 19 against Virginia, and then you're home against Georgia Tech. How do you not crush this team that's 4-12 in the conference? And the fans are there. They're just they're mesmerized. They're going, what the heck has happened to our team that was sitting undefeated just a week ago, and now they've dropped 4 out of 5. So I expect more of the same. I don't think the Syracuse team is playing very well. Now, if Jeremy Grant and his back come back and he's able to go, 30 minutes or 25 minutes, they could beat Florida State. Because Florida State, quite frankly, they're offensively challenged as well. They struggle to score. But this will also be senior day there. They'll honor a couple seniors, Carl White, Ian Miller, 2 of their 3 leading scorers. Aaron Thomas is the leading scorer, but then Miller and White follow up, and White is also their leading rebounder. They'll enter Robert Gilchrist. He'll start. He's the only other senior. He does get about 15 minutes a game anyway, but he'll be on there to start the game because of senior day. But I expect the Tallahassee crowd to be pumped up. This team's playing well. They've won 3 in a row and 4 out of their last 5. I'm looking for them to take care of business. Now, they do have some home losses that concern me against Miami and against Clemson. Earlier in the year in the ACC, they lost to North Carolina and Virginia. No shame there. But the Miami and Clemson losses at home, those are kind of head scratchers there for this Florida State team if they were going to make it to the NCAA tournament. I don't see them making it to the tournament unless they win this game and then they win at least 2 games in the ACC tournament. Only way to me that the Seminoles might get in there and bump someone out from their own conference. And I know it's crazy, but if Syracuse doesn't get it together, in other words, if they lose this game and they lose first game inside the ACC, you could see them drop all the way to a 6 seed. And we were talking about them as a 1 seed literally just a little bit ago. So I like Florida State. Chuck has a power rankings number right there about a pick 'em. I believe Chuck is what he said, and I'll just go over that with him to make sure. But I like Florida State either way. I think they win this game between 5 and 10 points. I'll take Florida State on their home court. I like the way they're playing. And again, Cooney's the only guy from the outside that scares me because he can knock down 3, 4, 5 in a row. Ennis doesn't take enough, but he's the creator. If C.J. Fair continues to shoot 27% behind the arc, I'll give him those threes all day. That's what his percentage is right now. So go ahead, take Florida State. I'm looking for Syracuse to make it 5 out of 6 on the loss column, and I like the Seminoles at home in Tallahassee. Chuck, what did you have this line right around there?
I think Syracuse -1,
Okay.
right, something like that, I believe. And then, this is a game, too, where you mentioned Florida State, who has a very good defense. They only allow 65 points a game. They could, that's going to work against Syracuse. The only, if there is a negative thing, we know Syracuse, as bad as they've been playing and kind of offensively inept, we know they still play that good defense. If Florida State cannot put down, if they can't break that zone, they don't find somebody to hit that outside shot, it could be one of those real low-scoring, battle-it-out type games that could go down to the wire. And but the way Syracuse is playing, you got to give the edge to Florida State.
There you go. That's a good call, though, because Florida State doesn't shoot it that well from the outside as well. So this could be one of those games that the under looks to be the play. And again, both teams really need the game, not only to get momentum going into the ACC tournament, but Syracuse to get off that schneid, basically dropping 4 out of 5, and Florida State to keep their momentum because they put themselves in such a hole with those back-to-back losses to Miami and Clemson at home earlier in the season.
Yeah, now they're playing well. I mean, they had a couple, signature wins at Pittsburgh, at Boston College, a team who's bad but was playing better. And we'll see if they can continue it going at home, which is a big game. Like you said, they're on the bubble, they're on the outside looking in, but if a few things go their way and they happen to pick off some wins here and go into the tournament, get some wins, they got a shot.
There you go. All right, so that is my play. Go ahead, take Florida State at home against Syracuse. Got one more video coming up for you. That'll be Chuck's play on a Sunday afternoon game. It'll be the Battle of Philly. Again, at St. Joe's, the Hawks at home taking on their arch rival, the Explorers of LaSalle. That'll be up next on pregame.tv.